Teachers and principals share their experiences with risk-taking in an enterprising environment. They explain how risk-taking must be informed, but when successfully undertaken, it can result in students being more able to solve problems, make the most of opportunities, and be open to flexibility and change.
Yeah, risk-taking is something that schools don't appear to incorporate in everything that they do. If you look at enterprise projects in the community, risk-taking is a strong component of those projects. But if you look at the E4E projects, you can see risk-taking at all levels. You're talking often of projects which have got strong community involvement. So when you involve the community, the school's taking a risk, the risk that in fact that it may not come out of it looking too well. So you know, the school's taking a risk. The teacher themselves taking a risk because they're giving away their direction of the project. You know, they're not in control of it at any stage, and so they've got to take a risk in that the students will pick up that responsibility. Will be able to take ownership and follow it through. And as far as the students themselves are concerned, then again, it's a different type of learning. There are no right and wrong answers. They're working towards the best possible solution that they can develop for the particular situation. And in looking for that best solution, then they're going to take risks. They're going to have to take risks, and they're going to have to be encouraged to take risks. And if those risks don't come off, then they're going to have to be helped through that process of evaluating exactly why it didn't work and where they go from here.
It is fairly important that risk-taking is informed. If they're uninformed, it's a silly risk.
Students in the school are more motivated to take informed risks.
If they did have to chop and change something, they had the background to make it work.
So I had several reality checks, and several things changed even once the project was underway. They designed their seats to be planks of wood that were going to fit on tops of stones.
And the children knew what they wanted to make the seat. They designed the seat, they talked about the materials.
Peter brought the boulders to school with his tractor and the front end loader and dumped them down on the field.
And then he said, righto, children, bring them up and put them where you want them bolted on.
And so they came up with this raft of tyres which they brought to school, and they roped them together.
And pushed the rock onto the tyre and heaved the rope up the hill, up the grass, onto the area.
And were able to actually get them up the steps of the deck in this method and then roll them into position.
The best part of that was the dad who sat on the steps and asked for his coffee to be delivered while the children were working out how to get these rocks up. And he was really, really a great mentor for the children, because he didn't do it for them, they did it through thinking through the process themselves and problem solving.
They see risk. They become, after the program is in action, they learn to become more informed about risk taking.
They knew what they were doing. They knew all the way along the line that what questions to ask, how to present things on the paper so that people would pick them up and read them. So yes, they were fairly informed. So if they did have to take a risk, if they did have to chop and change something, they had the background to make it work.
Because they have a limitation of where they've got to be. Yeah, so they can physically, they're connecting that playground with this and what they need as well to bring it forward.
I gave the students the opportunity to create jobs and job descriptions. They did that, and then they took the informed risk of advertising these jobs. In a school of 200 children, they printed off 200 job applications, which was risky and expensive, and they learnt from their failure that they didn't need that many.
There are lots of risks. As a teacher, you tend to direct and to stand in front and to give continual instructions.
And I could see at one point a teacher wanting to get up and looked at me, and I said, no, sit on your hands, let them go.
So they've managed the risk. They know that they've got the confidence that, you know, if they set up the environment right, it will work, you know. But if you haven't got that confidence, you know, if there's a tiny little bit of, you know, self-doubt there that maybe it's all going to fall over and maybe, you know, I'm biting off too much, then I think that's when, you're in real dangerous territory then, because the teacher doesn't have that inner confidence.
Right from the very basics, I can't do this, I'm not, so I won't, never entered their heads. I can do this, I am going to make a drafts board out there. It is going to be big enough for my feet to go on it. Well, I might need a parent to give me a hand, so on the phone and ringing up, yes, I can get this, but I haven't got any money. What am I going to do about some money? Okay, go straight to the principal, I want some money, and what's my next step? And following the steps logically so that they can produce the end result. That was really, really good. And finding out that things don't work, so what am I going to do about fixing it?
And as it went on, they stop and think before they rush in to take a risk. By the end of the year, these children, you could give them anything and they could do it.
The teachers involved in the contract would have to be flexible enough to understand that there were going to be changes in the way they ran their classroom. They'd have to know that before they signed on, I think.
We know it can work. You know, we can take any group of teachers and we can give them that confidence, and we can, you know, we can talk them through the process, and we can identify where the barriers are going to be. We can talk them through those barriers.
The teachers have to be flexible as well, and so we had to turn around and we had to change our action plan.
The kids had to work out what needed to be done, and if they needed certain things by the following Friday, they had to sort it out through the week.
You see a different side of the students. You see a different side to your own teaching. You know, you're interacting with the students in a different way. You're bringing out attributes that maybe the normal classroom program wouldn't bring out. You're seeing kids who sometimes don't shine in the normal program, you know, leaping forward and becoming leaders, and being the ones that are prepared to take the risks, and being the ones that develop the innovative solutions.